Hi, everyone, and welcome to Let's All Feel Better.
Hello.
I'm Kalista Parrish, your cynical sidekick. Let's go with that this week. I like it. I'll stick with
And I'm
cynical sidekick.
I'm Liz Kiefer, and yeah, I'm I'm gonna stay with the ethereal and looking for what's light and looking for what's right. How about that?
Yeah, I think you kind of you've experienced some stuff this week, though, that's kind of grounded you, I feel. The energy that has come up.
Yes. So now I'm definitely, I would say, more ground. I'm in a grounded spirituality this week.
Yes, yeah.
The realities have set in, and I've declared some boundaries.
Yeah, I was going to say, so once we're going to delve a little deeper into a little different place. We discussed boundary bubbles in terms of your family and your kitchen. But this week, Liz is going to take us a little bit on a journey with her through other need to establish boundaries, which is a really healthy thing for all.
And when boundaries get stepped on.
Yeah. Someone trying
then
to
what do you do? Yeah. So I have a story, and this is interesting because, and we were talking about this before, because this is COVID related. And this is, it does have to do with food, because everything has to do with food. But this is at the grocery store. So getting
staff
out
of life, after all, staff of life.
Yeah. And I'm the shopper for my family. But so, we were talking, it's kind of interesting. It feels very much like the beginning of COVID and being locked down, where you went out to grocery stores and you weren't quite sure who was going to follow the rules and who, what's happening here. And then everybody got on the same page. And now in New York, it's
at least everybody in New York got on the same page.
Everybody in New York,
with the guidance from our governor, that we all got on the same page. And weirdly now, it feels like there's a lot of this kind of feeling of, oh well, it's over. Didn't you? It's fine. It's fine now. This, our cases have been down all, every day for weeks and weeks, and it's like, oh no, but it's not.
Right. So it's starting to creep up that the uncertainty of when you go in, what's going to be safe, what's not going to be safe. And I've noticed that this week in particular. So here's what happened to me, which was kind of really triggered me, because I had a very strong intention. I've always had a strong intention for maintaining my boundaries. So in order to maintain my safety and my responsibility to my family, I have
protecting yourself
and to myself, that I am not going to expose myself unnecessarily during this time to anybody that's not masked, or or just
we're not taking it seriously.
Not taking it seriously, but also that 6 feet away. And I do a very, very strong job, and I take it seriously. So it's always been my intention. And I've always trusted the fact, like, oh, I won't let that happen. I mean, I will be the person that will step back and just go, okay, fine, just go.
Right. I often find myself standing there with people looking at you, and I'm like, I'm just giving you space to do that. And and
I don't think
if I was in a rush, I wouldn't have come to the store. Like, I'm just like, okay.
So I have been emotionally prepared for that and mentally prepared. So I just went, okay, I'm good with my boundaries. I trust myself this. So here's what happened. I'm in the checkout line, right? And I have a lot, because I'm trying to just go once a week. Yeah. So I have a lot of groceries, and I, of course, bring my own bags. You're still allowed to bring your own bags to this grocery store, because some grocery stores, they maybe don't want you to.
Yeah.
Here's the deal: is now they're not allowed to touch your bags.
Your bags, because they can't come home, and
you have to do your.
As long as you take them and pack your own bags, then you're.
So, here's what I do is I put everything through, and I pack everything up, and then I pay. Mm-hmm. So, because that was always my pet peeve before, of people coming in and starting the next shopper, the person behind me steps in and steps up to the cash register, or when I'm putting my things away, I haven't even paid yet. And and then I have to ask them to step back and could you mind? I haven't finished yet. And it's always bothered me. In fact, to the point where I go, would you like to pay for me? Because, I haven't done this part yet.
Standing in front
Be
of
happy.
the machine that
You can put your card in the machine for me. And I've always made a joke out of it. And then so that was the one thing about COVID. I went, oh, I love it. How they've been like completely monitoring the situation where they don't allow somebody to step up until you have the person who's paying.
Although now one of our big supermarket chains up here has started to be like, come over, you're next in this. And I'm like, no, there's people still there. I can't.
Well, we still do this where the store I go to, they line up. There's an X where they have to stand. Yes. But so somebody can still be waiting to put their groceries on the rolling Lucy thing, whatever you want to call it. And I just think of I Love Lucy, the chocolate thing, right? But they're not allowed to put them on and start it until you have finished and you're moving away, right? You're away. You're not by the credit card machine, and your food is off the thing and in your basket. So I'm doing this, and the cashier's sitting there, and so, okay, she basically has to wait because she's not allowed to touch my things. I said, and I've been doing it, and I said, but I still have more to do. And she was so fast too. I was like, whoa, okay. And then she said, do you mind paying now? So I can start doing the other.
She doesn't make a commission. It's not like she's getting more money.
I know. She literally asked me, do you mind paying? And first, that's the first thing she asked me. And I said, actually, I prefer not to. I would rather bag everything up. Otherwise, somebody, their food is going to get mixed up with mine. And I thought, okay. And then she said, no, actually, I can bag it as I'm going. I can get her started right here. And so it came back at me a second time. And that's, oh my gosh, I like the person who listens to authority, the cashier suddenly went,
you don't want to
Catholic
be
schoolgirls suddenly when
you don't want to be a bitch, this poor little cashier, and you've already kind of expressed yourself, and now you're like, maybe am I being unreasonable? Well, I don't want to make a scene.
So I didn't want to make a scene, honestly. And that part of me took over and said, okay, I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
All right. She's asked me twice. Okay. And I said, just as long as you keep it away from mine so I can finish. Well, sure enough, that person behind me then throws their own bag. So this cashier cannot bag it herself. But she continues anyways. And then the woman behind me steps up right beside me because she thinks that she's being done. And I turn and I do make a scene. I'm like, I haven't finished. I got so upset. And this poor woman, I end up yelling at this woman behind me. And then I apologize. I'm sorry. And I looked at the cash register. I said, the cashier, I said, do you understand now? I did not want to pay. This makes no sense to me. I have not finished. I don't understand why this next person is now in my space at this time. And I really was angry. I left there so livid because A, I was trying to follow the rules, and then B, I betrayed myself by, like, I felt like I was gaslight. It was being gaslit.
Yeah.
Well, suddenly my rules sounded like maybe they're not supposed to make sense. And and what she's clearly doing is against the rules, is not right? But making me think that that's the right thing to do. So
making you feel like making you think that you're in the wrong because you're preventing this from happening, right?
Correct.
So
that's
even though
exactly
you're like, but these rules, and that's what I mean is that now the problem, if you will, is I get it. Everybody's like, it's been 6 months, and
Yeah, they're over it.
and in New York State, we haven't had any. We haven't had more than whatever 3 deaths and this and that, and it's like for weeks and weeks. But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that we should all just go back to licking each other. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, but and also to add to this is that this was the pet peeve before the COVID
right.
happened. That people would come into my space and be standing in front of the machine, and I'd have to ask them to move back because I hate being crowded. I hate that their food's already coming in and mixed up with mine. I'm like, which bag is mine? Blah 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 blah. Anyway, so then I of course came home and I had to figure this all out, and I didn't want to spend the rest of my day being toxically angry at the cashier. Sure. And then I felt guilty for yelling at the woman behind me because
but also angry at yourself.
Well, that was
not standing up for yourself.
So here's something I want to offer, and it has been inspired by a wonderful coach that I love to listen to. Her name is Christine Kane. She's a great business coach. But there are questions to ask yourself when your boundaries have been crossed. And so you can really get clear on how you want to proceed and how you want to deal with your boundaries. So the first thing is to ask yourself how the current situation might be calling you to expand, because that was the first thing. It's like, what do I need to look at here? And then the second question I needed to ask myself was, when did I stop being clear?
That's interesting.
That's because I really did have a strong intention to set a boundary and to create safe distances between me. Right. What was the moment that I stopped being clear on my boundaries? And it was when she asked me the second time. And then the part of me that didn't want to make a scene took over. And here's the kicker, because the reason I didn't set a boundary in the first place was I didn't want to be rude and make a scene. And what happened? I ended up being rude and making a scene. Because I felt powerless and I wanted to have more control over the situation, because that's what happens when you don't have a boundary.
Well, and you were disrespected by her because you expressed yourself clearly the first time. No, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that.
Yeah.
You said, no, I don't. So just, that's where it should end, right? And you can and it's like, okay, but no, she's like, but I'll just do this and then, it'll be fine.
Right.
So you're like,
but it was a really good wake-up call for me because you're right. What I was truly angry at was I was angry at myself because I had made myself a promise. Remember this weeks back where with the boundary bubble that I would never betray myself, that I would say I would address it at the moment when I felt like a boundary was being crossed. And it's so frustrating when that's my intention, and yet I didn't do it. I fell into just a reset of that old pattern of don't go too far, don't make a scene. So anyway, so here's the deal. Like when you have the ability to step back when somebody's crossed your boundary, and you have the ability to create space before you respond, what you can do is this is a great series of steps. Is first you just list the facts. This list, this is a little self-coaching thing. List the facts, and the facts are, I'm bagging my own groceries. She asked me to pay first. I say no. She asked me to pay first again, and then I say yes. These are the rule, but the fact is, the rule is, I should be gone, before the next person steps up. But then you ask yourself, what's the key emotion that's being triggered? What is what's being dismissed? Like, or what is being ignored? Like, what's the emotion that? No, I'm sorry. The key emotion being triggered is what you need to look at. And a lot of it for me was that I was being dismissed in that moment. Okay.
Right.
She
Which
dismissed
is a big trigger for you.
That's a big trigger for me. Very big trigger for me. And then you ask, what is the what is the need or requirement? What that is causing me to feel this way? So basically, what is being ignored? And that was my voice, my sense of safety, my right to safety, was all being ignored. And
well, and also there's an interesting thing that's also being ignored there, which is that because you tried to establish what you wanted, so then actually your needs are also being ignored.
Absolutely.
You said to her very clearly, this is what I need. This is what I need. I need you to not do that. I need to not pay right now. And then
right.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you go, wait.
Total.
Oh, maybe it doesn't. Wait, do I not matter? Oh, gosh, geez. And then you get into that loop of, was I taking up space when I shouldn't have been? No, you should have been there. You should have been taking your space. But
I know me so well. Yeah, went right to that default. I mean, bam. Yeah. So this is why I had to think about all of these things, because, the next time you can have, if you listen, if you go through all those steps and you really do establish, this is what's happening, then it's so much easier to ask for a request that you expect a responsible response to. But if you don't get it, you're not so powerless, because at least you've asked for what you've wanted. When you really do request from a very grounded space, that you've taken the time to separate fact from fiction. The story I had about this cashier, versus just whatever, and then also it's good to reframe the whole thing. I mean, it's always a good mind experiment to reframe situations and what's the lesson I learned, and maybe she learned. I don't know why she was in such a hurry. I kind of wanted to go, do you have some sort of
like I say, she's not getting
mission you're getting?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wait a minute.
Are they on you for how many people you get through? I don't get it.
Well, and also there's something interesting there of the stepping on your power. I mean, because if you had just said yes the first time, that would kind of be more on you, I feel. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You didn't set up your boundaries properly. But that you said no, and then still she was like, yeah, too bad. You're like, huh. That seems odd.
So here's the deal. I went to the store.
Why is it so important to you to step on my power right now? Like,
so I go to the store yesterday. So this is 5 days later, and now I am ready. I am armed and ready. But I've decided now I have a new tactic, just to ensure that it's not even possible. And so now I keep the cart behind me.
Oh yeah, I always do that.
Instead of, I would always push the cart front, so it's easier to get out and make it so people can have room. Now I'm like, no, I keep that cart behind me, and now there's a cart between me and I don't care what anybody has to say. Sorry, can't. But I was prepared.
Also, by the way, why I take a cart, even if we have the local grocery store, that I will just be like, oh crap, I need to run in and get 5 different things, and I could do it in a basket, and pre-COVID absolutely would have, because I can move faster around the store. No. Now I take the cart, because the cart helps to ensure that space when somebody tries to get near me. I'm like, nope, this is a cart, and my cart stays out of it's not 6 feet, but at least I got a good 3 feet there or something.
But you know what happened? You know how they have the line, this was in the big grocery store, right? So, and they have a line where you go down one aisle, like they've picked an aisle for everybody to wait in line, and they've got the X's. Okay, so this is not our local one. This is where it's super big. And I'm at the top of the aisle. There's there's somebody waiting on deck. They're in the front X, that's outside of the aisle, and then I'm at the beginning of the aisle. But there was somebody behind who decided to come in and not wait down in the other aisle because they decided that that didn't make sense because then you'd be blocking the aisle. And I come up, well, he's already in place. So he's already creating a line in the wrong place. And I come up and I step to where I should be.
Following the rules.
And following the rules, because, you know, heaven forbid I don't. And I said, do you realize that you should be where I am right now? And I should be behind you. I mean, and I try to explain this scenario and he goes, but I would be blocking the aisle. And I said, well, but now you're blocking the aisle and you're going towards the produce. People are going to line up behind you, and you will be completely.
It's also not your place to decide this, sir.
I know, and I just
already put these makers in place for you.
Big signs that have everybody follow it, and look behind me. There's 3 people behind me, and so here I am. I'm like the rule maker at the local Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
But I was determined because I promised myself I wasn't going to be stepped on.
Right.
Even while I'm standing up for myself, I am commenting to that part of me that I made a promise to. And I said, see, I promised you I would stand up for you. I promised you I would give you my voice. Here I am. Like, I'm getting into fights at this grocery store. It was, I did have to laugh at myself.
Yeah, but
I just had to offer all of
and
this.
you stood up for yourself this time and stuck with it. But no, it's true. It's very funny to me personally. I have a grocery store trigger, which is, having gone to the grocery store with my mother growing up, actually in the city, we literally had a grocery store like on our same block, A&P. And so, you kind of knew these people, but she would go in and then wind up arguing with them over something, over, the rain check that she had, which is a concept that I don't even really understand. It's a coupon for when they had things on sale and then they sold out of them and they still give you a rain check. I don't know. It's some sort of 1940s concept, if you want my opinion. But anyway, or coupons or this, or that's not the right price, or that's not the right this, or that's not the right.
But you could haggle.
There was always some sort of something that in my head, that there was always some sort of piddly argument that she would have with these people. And it was always horribly embarrassing. Horribly embarrassing. This, no, that's 28 cents. That's not 20 cents, 9 cents. That you're like, oh my God, can we please just, and you just want to melt into the background. So that's a lot of the time that I find getting triggered for me when I'm in the store. And certainly if I'm in the store with my teenage daughter, because she's like, oh, just let it go. And I'm like, no. And one of ours was actually somebody at the big grocery store that they call somebody over to our line and she starts putting things on the belt as our stuff is getting off the belt. And Karina's packing for me, but still I was like, no, this is my space right now.
This is my bubble.
That's not okay. And that's actually, but I keep the cart the other side of me so that I can pack and do all that. But it's definitely, I think it's a more common trigger than one might think. And now I feel like that we should be able to say this is unsafe. Not just these are the rules and this is how it used to, this is what we're used to, or this is what I desire, or this is it. But right now it's still unsafe practices that you're doing. And I can't believe that I have to argue with somebody over something that affects their safety as well as my own.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I have a hard time putting myself in the other person's position, let's say. As I'm saying, I'm not sure why your cashier needed to run through so many customers at once,
I don't know, but it ended up being a wonderful opportunity for me to truly look at that situation and all the other situations in my life where that question now is not in my head. When did I stop being clear?
Right.
Because
that's a good one.
It's a good one. And you'll learn so much.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
It helps you to remain clear. Like I know, I certainly know in this situation, I won't have that issue ever again. But it really has been helpful. I mean, I've had boundaries in my family and all sorts of stuff. And where have I not been? When did I stop being clear? It's not even where have I Not when have I not been clear, it's when did I stop being clear?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It makes me think of too that, you know, my husband is on the road a lot, working, and then when he comes home, we have these couple days, what I often say are the re-entry days, and how awkward and weird those can be. And the longer he's away, the more awkward it is, where I'm like, that's not where that goes anymore, that kind of thing. But I think that there's been an issue of lack of clarity for me in that same way of, I have every right to ask what I'm asking. I have every right to express what I'm saying, and, you know, please do that with this knife before you put it away, or that kind of thing. But that because I'm not clear in what I'm expressing, and so that I get it muddled, then it comes across as muddled, and then it can trigger different things that I didn't mean it to trigger in him and the other person that I'm talking to. And that when you lose the focus of your own intention,
it's about intention. It's knowing.
Yeah.
When I realized that all of that was that my intention was to feel safe, and so that boundary was stepped on, and so it made it so much easier for me to now have strength, and in my future requests of, oh no, this boundary will never be crossed, because I am going to ensure that I feel safe, and I have the right to it. But yeah, it's all about intention. It's knowing why you're asking him what you're asking him, because it's not about the knife so much as it's about
the respect and how I have this run. It's about, you know what I mean, which you know, that's what I mean. And also, and to be more aware of what my intention is, so that I can make it more clear.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to also go through that work and go, what is the intention here? Is it to make him feel like he's uncomfortable because I've been lonely? You know what I mean? Like, there's that, you know, you have to figure out what it is that you really are trying to convey.
Right.
And, you know, respect for my, you know, this is how I do things when you're not here, you know, that kind of thing. And it's very interesting. I think that clear intentions, and then also expressing them clearly. You know, I think those go hand in hand. But I think, you know, obviously it starts from what your clear intention is.
Right.
That's the important part. I also just have to ask you, do you put out when you take your groceries out of the cart, do you put them on the conveyor belt in the order in which you will unpack them at home?
I love that you're asking. I'm getting apoplectic. Well, I do it this is how I do it. I put it out in order of how I need to pack them, because I need the heavy stuff to go first inside bags. So it's always about that. So
can't have bananas first,
and then the light stuff gets fit into it, and then I order it in bag. There's a bag that will have produce that go, and this is the bag that goes into the refrigerator, and this is the bag that goes to the pantry.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because
I do. Of course,
I do as well, and I guess I didn't when I lived in New York City. You know, it was just try and get it all in there and try and see if I can carry it all home and all that kind of stuff. But now that you try, and you know, it's much bigger, whatever, groceries that come in.
It's a system.
It's a system, but I find that helps me to kind of, I don't want to say keep control of it, but a little bit, keep control of my interaction there at the grocery store. Because as I say, it is kind of a trigger for me of, you know, my mom and arguing with them and, you know, whatever, that I definitely feel like it helps me. It also helps me to remember what it is, why I'm there. You know what I mean? It's because my family needs this, you know, which I think during this COVID time is very different. It used to be just sometimes I'd be there because I'd be like, I don't know, we did a couple things. I'm kind of bored, so I'll just, you know, take some time and wander around the grocery store and da. It's like, no. Now I have a very specific intention when I go, which is this is what I need to provide for my people, and that helps me to have a strength that I don't often find when I'm just arguing for myself. I'm a better advocate for those that I love.
Isn't that always the case? I mean, that's how I learned strength. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that yes. If this were, if I could treat my parts of me the way that I have compassion and treat my own children, oh my gosh, life is changing.
Yeah, after Karina was first born, and I said to my shrink, and she was like, "What's so interesting to me, because you are a wonderful advocate for her." And I was like, "I've gotten the window guards on." She's like, "Yeah, she's not walking yet. She's 2 months old, but you got the window. I have the labor kind of putting window guards on. I have this," and she's like, "It'd be so interesting to see what you could do if you did that for yourself." And I was like, "Yeah, we'll get there." But yeah, no, but that intention,
That's where the strength comes from.
yeah, but and figuring it out that by protecting mine and those that I love, that and providing for them, that helps me to keep a focus of why I'm here and why I'm doing this,
And why I can say no to that cashier the next time they ask me to pay first.
No, and it's fascinating to me. I mean, as I often say,
for a second, does she think maybe the credit card won't go through? She wants to make sure. Like, is there something I don't know about?
Right, that's the other thing, right? It starts to trigger all of our things. Like, what's wrong with me that she thinks I should pay already? Does she not think I have the money for this? Yeah, that's a lot of groceries you've got there, ma'am. Are you sure you can provide for no, but it's true. So, but I thank you so much for sharing that, because I do. I mean, clearly, I find it to be something that I can super relate to. But I feel like it's a good time to be thinking about that, about not allowing other people to trigger you because you don't want to upset them.
Yeah.
Because you want to just make everything go okay. And even if you had a clear intention going in, it's still all those, years and years and years and years of, oh, well, I don't want to cause a ruckus. I don't want to cause a stir.
Right. And I guarantee you'll cause a worse racket if you want to put it on the severity level by trying not to. It comes out sideways no matter what. It's going to come out, and then it's going to come out maybe at I feel bad that I yelled at this woman who is basically.
Also, I could also say the same thing of like, she should have been like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, I'll wait."
Right. She saw that I was just totally.
But also for her own self, I'm like, honey, you shouldn't let somebody to be like, go ahead, put your groceries on, because you don't know. I could be infected for all you know. What do you know? You don't know.
Yeah. I don't put mine on until someone's gone. But the stronger, once again, the healthier your and stronger your boundaries are, the more power you the personal power you possess, and also
maintaining that power.
Maintain it, and you have
not giving it away.
It allows you to have less control over. You don't have to have so much control over the outcome. When my boundary when I wasn't holding on to my boundaries, I really needed that cashier to know that she hurt me.
Right.
But if I can just maintain my boundaries and have them really strongly, it doesn't matter to me what the cashier asks me or not asks me. I'm like, I can just say no.
No, and you also, and when you're standing in your own power that way, you also don't care.
Yeah, you just.
She can think that I'm a pain in the ass. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What is the worst thing? She's gonna go home to her partner and be like, "Oh my God, I had the bitchiest woman in the." Who cares? Who cares? I don't care.
But controlling of the outcome is a biggie too. Letting go of control of the outcome, any way that you can just stand your ground, and that's the most important thing, is saying your truth.
Well, as you say, you can't control other people.
Right.
I mean, you can't. So,
But you want to.
Oh gosh.
When you feel powerless. When you're feeling powerless, that's when the need to control takes over. It's when you're in your own power as you realize you don't really need to control other people. And so there's the.
I think we can do one of those. We'll do one of those after my child has left for college. The finding my own power to allow her to have this experience, to hold the space for her to go and do this without me trying to be in control, and without me trying to be in control of her or the situation,
right,
or anything that is not.
Well, this is definitely a situation that is calling you to expand.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, I'd like to say. Thank you all for sharing this time with us. Thank you, Liz, for sharing your story with us. As
very
always.
much.
And yeah. There's all sorts of things I need to unpack with that of your clear intentions
Mm-hmm.
and not wanting to, not needing to control the outcome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very important.
Yeah, think about your boundaries. Think about where you've been clear and when you stop being clear. It's
Yeah.
big.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And as always, some of you who are just listening to us instead of also viewing us, you can see our videos of these lovely little chats that we have, our juicy conversations on our YouTube channel. Obviously, it lets all feel better. And also on the Real Women's Network.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of other fun content at a time where we're going to start finding that content is limited after everything that's gone down with COVID.
Right.
People
This
are
is
starting to film again, but
supporting women in all aspects of the business. It's just really lovely.
yeah, there's some really interesting stuff on there too. But yeah, just wanted to since we still are out of the studio and don't have our end credits, I thought we'd say thank you about that, and we hope that this made you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye bye.